God bless you, family. This is Pastor Michael Young, lead pastor of the City of Grace, and I'm coming to you during this time of the coronavirus that has us quarantined. The reality is, I think in this day and time, it's causing us to appreciate what it is to come together and to assemble ourselves together for worship. But as a result of the quarantine, we now find ourselves having to find new and innovative ways to really participate in worship and participate in the sacraments of the Lord. With this being Good Friday, we still wanted to do the things that were significant in the Lord's eyes in those last moments of his earthly journey. We've already talked to you about taking communion and really having the Lord's Supper. And now we want to spend some time to you talking about something else significant that Jesus did his last night living on earth. You'll find it in John chapter number 13. John chapter number 13, and in John 13, the Bible said, "And when supper was ended," speaking of that Last Supper, "the devil having now entered into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hand, that he was come from God and went to God, he riseth up from supper, laid aside his garments, took a towel, girded himself, and after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded." This is an incredibly powerful picture of one of Jesus' last acts as it related to his relationship with his disciples. A couple of things I want to point out to you in the text. The Bible said that when Jesus recognized that God the Father had given him all things, it was at that time that he took off his garment and put on a towel. This is powerful because in washing the disciples' feet, Jesus demonstrates a significant amount of humility. But the reason why Jesus could demonstrate humility is because Jesus was filled with security. He was secure in who it was that God the Father had created him to be. He said when he knew the Father had given him all things, then he was willing to take off his robe as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and he was willing to put on the towel of a servant. So the first thing that Jesus did is Jesus demonstrated humility because of his security. The second thing that Jesus did is the Bible tells us that Jesus got down on the ground. This is powerful. He began to wash his disciples' feet. The reason why this is so significant is because in biblical days, there were no paved roads. Everywhere that they went, they typically journeyed by feet, and they had open-toed sandals or open-toed shoes. So along their journey, the dust of their journey would collect between their toes. And whenever someone came into your home, it was the lowest servant in the house's job to take off their sandals and to begin to wash their feet, right? So number one, what they were doing is they were serving. The second thing that that servant was doing is they were relieving the person from the burden associated with their journey. So what we find here is we find Jesus not only operating in security when he demonstrates humility, but we also find Jesus setting an example. He's serving humanity and he's alleviating them from the burden of their journey. That is a powerful picture because that's what Jesus does for all of humanity. He doesn't just wash our feet to alleviate us from our journey throughout the day, but Jesus literally alleviated us from the burden of sin that we've picked up along the way. I challenge you to wash somebody's feet. What you'll be doing is you'll be demonstrating your own security, right, when you operate in humility. And the second thing that you'll be doing is that it's an incredible act to serve humanity. I pray that despite the fact that we're quarantined, despite the fact that we're going through this time of crisis and we find ourselves not able to come to the house of God and worship, let's get back to biblical things. What the Bible said in Bible times is they worship and they went from house to house. So instead of bringing your house to church, why don't you bring church to your home? God bless you. Have an amazing Good Friday. Let us reflect upon all that the Lord has done for us. And you know what? We're going to be ready for Sunday because he's going to be risen. God bless you.